Yo, what's up, you guys? It's your girl, Trudy LPC, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Self-Aware and Up There podcast. I have a very, very special guest this week. I cannot wait for her to be able to tell about her journey towards becoming the District 2 City Councilwoman in LaGrange. She's going to be sharing a lot about the platform that she's running on, and I know a lot of you guys probably are familiar with her. She is a homegrown LaGrange native. She is an activist within the community as well as within the education system. So I am grateful to have her here on the show today to talk about the mental health conditions in Troup County and the things that she wants to be able to do within LaGrange and the city of in the county of Troup County as a whole. So without further ado, please welcome to the Self-Aware and Up There podcast, Maiya Dowell. Hey Maiya, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you for having me, Tree. I appreciate your time and giving me the opportunity.
Good deal. Good deal. Thank you so much for taking time. I definitely appreciate you wanting to share with people about what you're doing as far as running for city councilman in LaGrange and what you really want to be able to do in the platform, especially the mental health, because, you know, I'm really passionate about that aspect of it. So we'll go ahead and get started with just having you tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I would like to say hello, LaGrange and other surrounding areas, as well as your audience, Tree. I am Maiya Dowell. I am a 38-year-old native of LaGrange, Georgia. I'm homegrown, home and baked, what I always like to say. I am running for District 2 City Councilwoman. I have lived in District 2 all my life. I know District 2 like the back of my hand. Warren Temple, First Baptist Church, St. Paul.
Okay, St. Paul.
You know, hello, old ship, you know.
Yes.
But like I've always said, that District 2 is my home. That's my hood. But District 2 is struggling to advance more, advance quicker than the other district in our city. We do have a lot of things that are developing within the last couple of years, you know, with leadership and change that we've had in our community. So that is a plus on our end of District 2, but we want a little bit more. We want a little extra. We want a little bit razzle and dazzle. So I feel like I'm here to represent that new leadership to bring those things to fruition for our district.
Awesome. Well, definitely. I appreciate the enthusiasm that you have for running, as well as the passion that you have for doing what you do.
Thank you.
So it's so amazing, definitely, to see a young BIPOC woman wanting to ensure that you're giving back to your district, the district that you were born and raised in. I think that that's absolutely amazing. So I'm curious to know, I know that you're from there, but is there anything else that led you to want to represent District 2?
I have previously had relatives. I do have relatives that are actually in government for our local city. My cousin is Dr. Jimmy McCamey, who is actually one of the county commissioners. Oh, wow. My uncle, LaGrange McCamey, was previously holding the seat of District 2. Unfortunately, he passed in January, so this is where the seat comes open now. I've always been in a situation where I've been around people, been able to be in different groups, touching different circles within the community. So I feel like this is just something that I was born into, something that I was born to be. My great grandmother, she was someone that was very instrumental in the community in District 2. She was one of the first people to have a phone in her house. And at that time, that was, one of the first people to have a car. She worked as a midwife. She's raised a lot of other children that weren't her own. So just being a pillar of the community, that's something that is in my spirit, in my blood. That's something that I've always done. I've always been that person. I've been a doer. So being a doer is something that needs to be in this seat, a person that gets stuff done.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it's in your bloodline, community. You were born into this. It's something that you clearly, it's following in the legacy of your grandmother and being able to follow also in the legacy of your uncle and others, but also leading and blazing a trail of your own for this new generation. I think is really important to highlight. So I know, I'm very passionate about mental health, being from LaGrange as well. I'm kind of curious to know, from your perspective, especially with this being a mental health podcast, what experience do you have with working with mental health?
With mental health, I've had experiences directly and somewhat indirectly. I've previously worked with the LaGrange Housing Authority, which actually had a contract with the city of LaGrange and their accountability court.
Okay.
With that accountability court, we provided transportation to and from their different drug screenings, and also their situations where they had to possibly meet with a therapist at the pathways sector that we have here. So that indirectly gave me exposure to certain things. Also, one thing that a lot of people may not know is my grandmother and grandfather also adopted or were foster care parents for some people with mental disabilities or just possibly basic needs of mental health that they were needing. So we always came into contact with people of that nature. My uncle was also an employee of the Crawford Center, which is on the old campus of West Georgia Technical College. He's also worked with people with disabilities and things of that nature. So mental health has come, back and forth within my life.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, I mean, having that history, I can definitely understand why something like mental health and being able to address issues in mental health would be important to you. What are some of the key things that you're wanting to address if you were elected in terms of mental health or mental health parity?
I think what the stigma with mental health is that we don't understand a lot of mental health. I think we come into mental health thinking that it has a look. Mental health does not have a look at all. It's almost, we kind of get naive with mental health. Either if it's anxiety or depression, people think that depression has to be, I'm falling out, Some depression you can actually, suffer in silence. I am one of those people that I suffer in silence because I come from a Black culture where we don't talk to people about our problems. We go to church. Or whatever happens in our house stays in our house. And even whatever happens in your room stays in your room. You don't discuss different things, with adults. You don't bring up issues that you may have because we just don't understand how to talk about them. So with mental health, the first key I feel like is just the talk. That's one of the first steps for me. Mental health is something that we just don't know how to categorize. So it's something that we run away from. If we can't put it in a box, we run away from it. So I think those are the issues that we fall into in a city that, we have a great population, but there's also a situation that we don't understand what mental health is because we want it to have a look and it doesn't have a look at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think about the current state of like mental health in LaGrange and the current services, or rather access to services in LaGrange?
The current services or access that we have, it is a struggle. We are suffering. We just need more manpower. We need more money power. We need more access. Just to be honest with you, I mean, the money makes it go a long way. Money makes you happy, but money is always a good help. The mental health resources that we have are great resources. I'm a person that I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. I believe in repowering the wheel. And that's funding, that's giving more support, that's giving all the access that we currently have. We have great programs that are locally for women, also men, but I just wish that we could flood more funding, flood more access, flood more employees, employment. And a lot of people don't realize this. I know a lot of people that have, in my age group alone, they're therapists and they're counselors, but they fail to come back here to our city and work for their hometown because of no shade.
Oh, I felt that one.
We just don't give them the option to come back home because we just don't have the resources and the job appeal for them to come back. So, I'm hoping with this seat that I could bring some of my homegirls and homeboys back to work in this great city that, they grew up in, and, that we keep flooding, this workforce to help our mental health, department.
Awesome. Yeah. I felt a little bit attacked there, but it's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's all good. I can't see half of LaGrange because I know half of LaGrange. So even if I lived there, I wouldn't be able to
see. That's so true.
And
that's another thing. That's so true.
So definitely. Yeah. So Another thing that we have to think about when it comes to mental health is also like support for the people who are supporting them, like family and caregivers. Like, how would you address that if you were elected for city councilwoman?
Honestly, I feel like they also need the counseling sessions. They also need the available resources. They also need a support team of their own. Our support family members, they need that backing as well, because they're pillars, and who's going to be a pillar for a pillar when it goes down. So I feel like in that situation, everyone needs to be a circle of support for everyone, not just for that patient themselves, but just as an actual family, a circuit family for support for everyone. I've seen many times where, bills can't be paid because a caregiver can't get out and get a job. We need to make sure that there are available resources for that person to make sure that a utility bill, rent is something that they don't have to worry about. Gas, food, just those different supplemental items can actually go a long way with the family support.
Right. Wow. Yeah, I think that you're definitely right. It has to be something that is a community effort, and we have to look at the bigger picture. We have to look at everyone and everything involved. And if I have, friends that have care of family members who they have to take care of, and it's hard for them to work. They have to drop down to part-time, and then it becomes a financial stressor. So I definitely think you're definitely going in the right direction. That I love to hear that, that particular direction that you're going in. So what steps would you take to ensure that, there is specialized treatment? I know you mentioned bringing more people back. There are some barriers to that, but what steps would you take to increase the availability of specialized treatment?
Just as far as supporting different meeting supports, I feel like with the Army, with the military, they have different support sessions for people that you're getting deployed and your family needs this session. This is what's going to happen. This person may not be the same when they come back. This person may have a different outlook on life when they come back. Those different counseling sessions, just alone for those family members, just giving them opportunities where maybe almost treating it like a home health, maybe a home health nurse could come in 1 or 2 days out of the week to give that person a break, give them air. Everybody is a happier person when they get a little sun in the system, when they get a little fresh air in, So even that, just giving them the opportunity to just take a break and get away from those situations. But we also need to make sure that their mental is in the right place as well. Because mental health, not to say that it's contagious, but it is a domino effect. So, we have to look out for those different things as well. Hopefully we can get something where, different counseling groups are able to pull those people and give them more support, give them more training. Give them even close almost to certifications where they're able to go out and train other people. So just giving them a more outlook on life, making sure that it's not a negative stigma with, being a caregiver, because some people look at them as somewhere, oh, well, they're just doing it for money. No, they're doing it out of love and kindness of their heart.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's definitely something that needs to be highlighted, because that stigma is there. Oh, well, you're only doing it because you want that check, or you only want this.
We say that. She just want her check. No,
that check is not even that much if you really want to break it down. So,
because once you start looking at bills, once you start looking at the utilities, once you start looking at gas to get to where they have to go, medicine sometimes. I mean, food just alone, you have to eat. So, it's a lot of things that get, just shuffled around due to their importance.
Yeah, absolutely. So another key area, and I saw this a lot when I was working in Columbus, was people coming into the hospital or coming into different settings, and they ended up going to the hospital because they were having a mental health emergency and ended up being placed in jail. Like, as a city council person or as a councilwoman, how would you address that? What things would you do to ensure that people who need to be receiving mental health services aren't just taking the Sam Walker Drive?
And that is one of the key things that Ms. Stacey Abrams, who is our next governor, brought up in the forum here, that our law enforcement deals with a lot of mental health issues, having to transport them and giving them some place to stay.
Right.
Unfortunately, the jail. I feel as though this is something that we could definitely be one of the catalysts for this type of test run, having a local facility. We have a lot of abandoned mills that could be refurbished, that could be actually turned out into something of a facility, of a rehabilitation situation.
Okay.
And we have the warming centers for the homeless. We have different avenues for our domestic violence women. We have Harmony House. We have so many other things, but this should be something as a catalyst where we can have something of a rehabilitation center, something that's not just, it doesn't have to be, padded doors and padded walls, but something where they can just adjust unto that. Okay, this is the step here. We're going to get your stuff together. We're going to provide you the services. We're going to provide you the free counseling. We're going to provide you, maybe medical needs that you may need. And then let's continue to step on out. Almost like a drug release program, but something of mental health on that terms. Because, putting them in jail for 72 hours, that's not going to cure the problem. And mental health is something we're not looking for a cure to, kill mental health illness, because that's something looked at as hereditary, something, something traumatic in their childhood. We're not looking for those cures. We're just looking for those buffers, those helps, those terms that we can actually make sure that someone is cared for.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely a great way to go about addressing it. And I know that having a place for them to go, because a lot of people, when they end up going to jail, it literally, they probably will see the psychiatrist at jail, depending on how long they're there. But like the 72-hour piece, is like, if they go to jail, they may or may not be released within 72 hours, depending on whether or not they make bond. But with them being able to go to a hospital, I think that that's very important, so they can get on the right medications and things of that nature. So having a facility like that, I'm sure, would be really helpful for LaGrange as a whole. So, wow.
And you have to look at it I feel like if that's something that we bring into this city, that's a catalyst. And, people look at funding. Okay, this is something fresh. This is something new. I want to be involved in this. I want to be, I want my name on a building. People, as shallow as it sounds, people want, they want to be known for, okay, this is something that I was a part of, So, I think that would be something great, something new. Because like I said, we are a city that's not being that proactive about mental health. And we're kind of just, kind of seeing how it goes. And then, okay, this is a situation. Let's try to attack it. But if we're being proactive, this is something that we could definitely resolve.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really sounds like you have some great ideas for how to change the face of mental health in LaGrange. And, I love definitely hearing that. How, I know you mentioned that having some connections to mental health in regards to maybe depression and things of that nature. Have you experienced or had a family member that has experienced issues with mental health?
I can personally say I have not, because like I said, unfortunately, my family is, they're lock and key. We get those experiences where we kind of sit down and we talk about things. I do recall having an aunt that, a great aunt that maybe had a bout with schizophrenia. So that may have been one of those issues there. But like I said, unfortunately, not a direct contact, maybe my own personal things where I may have been having an anxiety attack. And, we don't look at mental health like we should. We don't dissect it. We're okay. I just had a crying moment. Let me get over this and keep on going. Let me put my big girl panties on and keep on moving. Because unfortunately, Black women we're not allowed that time to cry. We're not allowed the times to have a moment. We have to kind of keep on going and don't stop. We have to continue to be mothers. We have to continue to be workers. So we really don't have that opportunity to have our moments and people console us and try to see what's going on and how they can fix those things. So I come from a long line of women that kind of picked it up and keep moving, and we're not going to discuss it. We're going to go on and keep going. So that's, people may not see it as a problem, but that's something of a problem that is, we need to stop and think about things like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. So with that Black woman archetype, how do you as a Black woman go about taking care of yourself and your mental wellness?
I like to call what I say is personal time is personal for me. So when I
Mhm.
say it's personal for me, a lot of people understand like, I'm not disconnecting myself from you right now, but it's
Mhm.
personal right now. I got a lot of stuff I got to get going. I got a lot of
Mhm.
stuff I got to keep moving because unfortunately I am a person that keeps a lot of irons in the pot.
Mhm.
I have a lot of stuff going on, working a couple of jobs here and there,
Okay.
mentoring a couple of kids, basketball mom. We're currently on the road every weekend.
Mhm.
Basketball doesn't stop at this point. It's fall ball, spring ball, summer ball. So, it's pretty
Wow.
much all up in one. So with myself, I just have to take those personal times. I have to be selfish. Sometimes you have to be selfish because people will
Exactly.
pull, 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 pull. And once they're full, you're left empty. So you
Right.
have to definitely be careful as far as making sure that your mental state is on point because you could have a breakdown and you know
Mm.
it's a slippery slope at that point.
Yeah. Absolutely. I just wanted to make sure you're taking care of yourself because a
Yeah.
lot of times people, especially being in a role like, doing all that you do and also taking on running for a city councilwoman. And when you win, you're taking on other stuff on
Right.
top of that. And so,
Right.
it's just, you also have to have your own balance because you have a lot that you want to be able to do for the city
Yeah.
of LaGrange and Troup County as a whole. And in order to be able to do that, you definitely going to have to make sure you take care of yourself. So,
Right.
definitely want to
Yeah.
make sure that you were doing that.
Yeah.
So I know we spent a lot of time talking about the mental health aspect of what you do and some of the platforms that you're running on. What are some other things you want to highlight as far as things you want to see change in LaGrange?
Um, one of the three of my platforms is smart policing.
Okay.
This is something that is kind of dear to my heart. I had a cousin um, that unfortunately, he lost his life during a situation where he was tased and it was raining. And, of course, he was electrocuted
Wow.
to death. So I was probably about 10 or 12 when that happened. So it's something that's very dear to my heart as far as smart policing and making sure that the police that police this community look like us. And if
Mm-hmm.
not, then they understand the people that they're policing. Smart policing is just making sure that you understand the demographic and the background of the area that you're policing, knowing the children up, from being in elementary school on up, because you typically keep the same policemen there. We rarely have other policemen, either they advance in the department to
Mm-hmm.
maybe detective, things of that nature, but we still know them. It used to be a time in District 2 that we knew policemen and we knew their work schedules. We knew who was on schedule. We knew who was working weekends and stuff like that because
Okay.
they were actively in the community. But we also need to expose some of our students that are in high school, expose them to working in this, in this career path, exposing them to getting into this career path and making sure that maybe, hey, we can keep them here homegrown,
Mm-hmm.
getting them homegrown, they advance further. I actually have two students that were from my after school program with West Georgia Star. They started out as bike patrolmen. They were patrolling the park
Oh, wow.
at
That's
Wiley.
cool.
One of them ended up, becoming a patrolman. The other was with the Department of Troup County, the Sheriff's Department. So this is something that, it's doable. We
Mm.
just have to expose our children to different things other than football, basketball. We just have to expose and inspire them to be more than what just leaving and not ever coming back.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think that's a great way to change the way that policing is done, especially in a city like LaGrange that has
Right.
its roots in a lot of stuff that I teach
Strong
about.
roots.
So,
Strong roots. We have very strong roots because what we fail to
mhm.
realize is, hereditarily, that's how other races work. If
Mm,
their grandfather was a policeman, their father's a policeman, then
mm,
they become a policeman. We don't do that for some reason. We don't keep the traditions of our families or our forefathers. My grandfather was a brick mason. None of my uncles are brick masons. None of them. I have one that actually used to do it, but he no longer does it. So we've just killed an economic line within our family. And I mean, if my granddaddy would have saw my son and my nephews, he would have loved them to death, because they are those type of children that they love to learn, like working outside, shooting guns and skinning squirrels and stuff. But unfortunately, that legacy of him being a brick mason kind of stopped with my uncles, and it never got continued on.
Wow. Yeah. So legacy, I'm still hearing legacy a lot in terms of just kind of you and your family, and just being able to carry on the legacy of where you come from. And I think
because that's important. That's how every other culture works.
Yeah.
They continue what their parents start. And unfortunately, we don't.
Yeah. I mean, some of us can leave LaGrange. We have our reasons.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah, I applaud, my god brother, he is gone on to Atlanta. He's successful. He works for the VA department. Mm-hmm. You're my cousin. You have gone on to do other great things, author, playwright. So, you're doing great things, but we just need to make sure that the legacy that our forefathers are leaving here continues to stay strong, because we're slowly but surely losing land that, our parents have owned in District 2 because of either eminent domain, or our parents or our relatives just don't pay taxes on them anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And it's valuable land, and they have a lot of plans for District 2. But,
Yeah. Wow. So, I mean, it's definitely a lot going on there. So you said you had 2 other platforms that you were running on. What are those?
My other platform is Urban Movement. Urban Movement is pretty much just making sure that we are moving. We are fast forward moving, just like any other district, just like any other city in the state of Georgia. Mm-hmm. At one time in the 1960s, LaGrange was ranked number 8 as far as population. Mm. We are still at 38,000. We are still 2022, and we're ranked at 35,000 as far as population. And that's because we had a great migration of people moving north, people moving west. Mm-hmm. But if you think about those people that could have stayed, in what kind of city LaGrange would have been. Because if you look at Noonan has just, within the 10 years, has just, expanded out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. We haven't made that same push or that same growth as Noonan has made, and we could have, but just unforeseen situations. I'm not sure what they were caused, and I'm sure it's due to leadership. But we are a forward-thinking city, and we just need to get to it. Urban Movement, just making sure that District 2, continues to move in the best way that it can. A lot of people in District 2, they want different things to come to District 2, entertainment, restaurants. But we also need to look at, like District 2, we need to look like a city that wants those things, making sure that, the houses in this area are upkept, making sure that the landlords are, making sure that this side of the district is beautified. We need beautification ideas. We need things that, bring those developers into this city.
Gotcha.
And my other platform is entrepreneur support. That's pretty much supporting our entrepreneurs locally here, making sure, they have the capital that they need to survive, making sure, that they have support from the city, making sure they have support from the community, things like that, because we have, sole entrepreneurs here that are very successful businesses, but some are not. We need to give everyone an equal playing field.
Oh, wow. Okay. So definitely some good stuff going on there as far as how you're hoping to help people move forward, the entrepreneurial aspect of it definitely being one of those that I think is really important in order to advance people. Because a lot of people, I know, especially with COVID, a lot of people are not wanting to go back into the plants. And I know that LaGrange is a very industrial town, but, there's so much more to life for a lot of people than that. And a lot of people are getting outside of that now that, they've had the opportunity to do some different things. So, so definitely some really good stuff going on there, and definitely a lot that you hope to be able to do once you're elected. And I definitely hope that, that the people that are listening are able to connect with you and really figure out how they can show support for you. How can they do that?
Well, I do have my Venmo. my Cash App as well. My Cash App is $ Miss Your Type, and that's MIURTYPE.
Mm-hmm.
And my Venmo, let me make sure it is. Make sure it's right. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so my Venmo is Maiya, MAIYA -Dowell, DOWELL. So again, my Cash App is Miss MS Your Type TYPE, and that's money sign before that. And my Venmo is Maiya -Dowell. So if you're willing to support my campaign, we would surely appreciate it, because these signs ain't free. These buttons ain't either. But just showing your support, sharing my post, sharing my live. I go live every Friday night at 7:30. If you are able to join, come in and ask questions. I try to answer as much as I can within the 30 minutes. I don't want to hold anyone, because Friday night lights are serious in LaGrange. So I don't want to hold you any longer than, because I'm a football mom. Even though my son doesn't play football, I like to go to the football games and yell for my kids. So any way you can, just share a post. You can inbox me if you have questions as far as what's going on in LaGrange. I'm always available. If you see me at Publix, which is my favorite store, Kroger and Publix,
Okay.
Stop me. If you need to talk to me, stop me. So, and I just want to keep, just the lines of communications. I'm a communicator. I'm a hugger and I'm a communicator. I like to talk. I want to hear. I want you to back and forth. Don't sit and look at me talk. Give me something. So.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that information on how people can connect with you. Is there anything else that you want the audience or the constituents of LaGrange to know about you and your?
If you're wanting someone to stick up for District 2 and make sure that District 2 advances as well as the 2nd District, make sure you elect me as your city councilwoman. Early voting starts October 10th and election day is November 8th. If you have any questions or concerns, always follow my Facebook page, which is Vote Maiya Dowell for City Councilwoman, or my personal Facebook page, which is Maiya Dowell. As I said, I go live every Friday night at 7:30. So if you're there, don't be square. Give me some information, ask some questions, and I'll try to get my information to you as soon as possible if I don't know the answer.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you. Definitely wishing you good luck on this race. I already know you got it in the bag, but I just want to make sure that everyone gets out to the polls. Start with your early voting on October the 8th. And then make sure you guys make it to the polls if you are not able to do so during the early voting period. Until next time, just make sure that you guys continue to take care of yourself. Thank you so much, Maiya, for coming. Thank you so much for sharing and being a part of this platform, as well as just being able to educate people about what you're wanting to do in LaGrange. And I really applaud you for what you do. I'm grateful for what you do, for continuing your legacy. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep inspiring others to give back and be a part of the community in the way that you're able to do that. So thank you for what you do. Awesome. All right, guys, you are heard. Make sure you guys get out and vote. Also, make sure you guys follow me, Tree the LPC, on all social media platforms under the handle Tree the LPC. Until next time, be safe, be well, and make sure that you take care of your mental health.